Hi everyone, Sean Humphreys here. Welcome to All Things Retirement. In this installment, we're going to talk about a recent release by FP Canada, the Financial Planning Standards Council, who oversees chartered financial planners in Canada, and they come up with some great research information they release every once in a while. In this particular paper they released, I'm going to cover a very quick executive summary. And the paper basically was titled Identifying and Removing the Psychological Barriers to Seeking Financial Advice. This was released June of 2021. Now, why is the topic important? It's important because study after study after study confirms the efficacy, the value of a coaching relationship for Canadian families. Almost every metric you can think of, advise households just do better. Now, I know that sounds very self-serving. I'm an advisor, chartered financial planner. I work with families, coaching them around issues of finance, retirement, and other aspects of their wealth management. However, there's a very strong body of information that talks about the value of coaching, and yet a relatively small percentage of Canadians have a coaching relationship. A relatively small number of people really engage long-term in a coaching relationship. Why is that when there's so much information that confirms the value of financial coaching relationships? So I'm going to unpack what the study said, and maybe some of these factors are keeping you from tapping into the benefits of financial coaching. Now, if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the alert bell so you get notified on future content that we're posting on various aspects of wealth planning and retirement income planning. So the research that was pulled together for this paper was conducted by Smith School of Business at Queen's University. And in previous studies, the researchers had confirmed, and this is over a 3-year longitudinal study, found that individuals with comprehensive financial plans, long-term coaching relationships, felt the following. So number one, they felt more on track with their financial goals and retirement plans. Number two, more confident that they can deal with financial challenges in life. Number three, they felt that comprehensive planning helped them to better able to indulge in their discretionary spending goals. So they knew what they could afford to be spending, what they needed to do to achieve their financial goals, and what was in their budget to do the discretionary spending, as opposed to just doing it and wondering whether you're on track or not and worrying about the impact. The fourth is more on track with financial affairs. So they're tracking in the right direction through ongoing reviews and assessments. And the last one is more able to save in the last 5 years. So they felt that their savings trajectory was better because of the comprehensive planning and coaching relationship. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, in spite of the fact that many studies have confirmed the value of coaching, many individuals do not pursue coaching. And often it's the people that are in most need of coaching that don't pursue that. So I found that in my own practice. So I would say a high percentage of our clients are people who are predisposed to a coaching relationship. They're predisposed to seeking advice. They're people who have sought advice from their accountants, from their lawyers, from their bankers, and their financial advisors. They see the value of those relationships and acting on the advice of those relationships. Now, one of the reasons for that is people who are using financial coaches or professionals in various areas have come to recognize that there is huge utility and value in consulting with someone that's walked families through the situation hundreds of times. They obviously have a huge background of information and experience they can bring to bear in your file, in your situation, to make your transition that much better because of all the experience they've had, as opposed to you as a do-it-yourself planner or advisor or help, dealing with these issues, trying to do it on your own. So at a gut level, most people understand that, but for whatever reason, it doesn't translate to the financial arena. Now, one of the reasons for that is that many people that are polled around the value of financial coaching believe that it's only for people who have wealth where there's real benefit to that kind of thing. So they basically are dismissive because they don't feel they have a financial situation that warrants that kind of planning. And that's probably one of the worst things to think, because it doesn't matter where you are in your financial journey, coaching and encouragement and accountability will provide you with much better progress if you didn't have it. And there's all kinds of solutions. Most practices have concierge services where at different levels of need of different services will hit those needs. You want to make sure you don't allow my situation doesn't warrant that attention because I'm not wealthy to be the reason why you don't pursue that kind of advice. Okay, let's look at some of the main findings from this study. And so if we look at the study at a summary level, the research by Dr. Purda and Dr. Ashworth points to three main barriers that kept people or families from seeking out financial advice. So the first one was consumer confusion about what financial planning is and who's qualified to provide it. Confusion around the financial planning process, what is a plan, what do the various designations mean. So it can be very confusing for people. So there's various ways that you can cut through all that. So the first thing I would recommend you do is I'm just going to go to their website right now. Let's go to FP Canada, and let's just go to their website, and I'm going to go out of this for a second. So we're going to go to their homepage. And on their homepage, if you scroll down, you'll find this section called Canadian Public, and they have the various subcategories. So I'm going to visit financialplanningforcanadians.ca. So when I go to that page, it's going to take you through, why a financial planner, planning is good for you, planning by topics, find a financial advisor. This is a great resource page. So if you're trying to understand what wealth planning and overall financial planning is, what it means to be working with a chartered financial planner, how to find a planner, to subscribe to a newsletter that talks about various planning aspects, this is a great resource to go to. In a nutshell, when you're dealing with a chartered financial planner, that designation means the individual's gone through a lot of training. There's a lot of CE credits they have to get every year to maintain the designation. They're trained on overall planning, but planning around estates, planning around tax planning, retirement income planning, all the different aspects that intersect cash flow budgeting and on your financial plan. Now, typically, if I look at our office, we're not atypical, and so we have the consulting advisors who are all chartered financial planners. As well, the advisors are licensed, which means that not only can they provide advice, but they can also help clients implement on the advice. So our advisors are IROC licensed, which means they're securities licensed. They can handle stocks or bonds or ETFs or various financial instruments. And typically, they're also licensed on the insurance side to help with insurance and risk management requirements as needed. So typically, you'll see both sides, the licensing on the product side and the advice giving on the CFP side. Now, I'm going to go to my website. So Humphreys Wealth Group, we're associated with Asante Wealth Management. If I go down to services, if I go down to retirement coaching as an example, which is a subset of overall financial planning, it's a good place to start though, because if you look at the process that we take clients through with retirement income planning, which is like a mini financial plan, these steps also apply to overall comprehensive planning. Now, a lot of the people that come through our front doors are coming through because they want to seek counsel on retirement income planning. That's one of our specialties. But each of these steps that are outlined in this page walk you through some of the core areas of wealth planning process as well. As well, if you go to services and then wealth planning, we have a dedicated page that begins to unpack what wealth planning is from our perspective as well. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to take a look at. Find resources. Try to find chartered financial planners in your local area that have experience, that have a team, and that they follow the 6-step process for financial planning. The next issue was consumer attitudes towards planner use. Consumers who have negative attitudes toward financial planner use will be less inclined to engage in financial planning. Attitude is impacted most positively by consumer perceptions about the benefits of financial planning related to the perceived costs. So you can take a look at this. We'll have a link to this particular study. But it's very interesting. If you look at the media and a lot of commercials, they message often very strongly that the cost of financial advice is simply just a drag on your financial performance. It's just a waste of money. Again, studies confirm that nothing could be further from the truth. But that narrative is pretty common out there. I think the media and marketing companies are doing a good job of undercutting and creating a degree of cynicism as it relates to the financial consulting industry. And so what you want to make sure you do is that you try to parse through the marketing hype and the media bias sometimes and really ask yourself a question. If I am dealing with an advisor who is certified, who's been dealing with hundreds of client families, have walked them through various transitions, and I can actually talk to people that have successfully achieved their goals because of that advice, That's probably a better proof source for the value of that kind of planning than watching a 30-second or 15-second commercial that completely undercuts the value of coaching, accountability, and encouragement and advice, right? So you want to make sure that those media narratives out there are not biasing your degree of objectivity when you take a look at these kinds of services. And then we have a section called Financial Advice Seeking Efficacy. So consumers who don't believe they have what it takes to engage with a financial professional will not tend to do so. That is, where consumers don't believe they have sufficient knowledge or experience or resources to work with a financial professional won't tend to engage in one. So I talked about that before. No matter where you are in the financial spectrum, you will be able to benefit from financial advice. Most firms also have what's called a concierge experience from a standpoint of different kinds of services that are focused on different stratas of need. So obviously a young couple starting their family has a different set of financial needs and advice giving than a couple that's just about to retire or are retired. And so most firms have developed various service offerings. So no matter where you are in your financial journey, you should be able to take advantage of the value of financial coaching. Don't make the wrong assumption that just because you don't have a lot of financial assets, you couldn't benefit from the coaching and there really aren't services out there for you. There are. I look at our practice, we are very intentionally not just working with our core client families who are retaining us on retirement income planning and overall wealth planning, but we want to make sure we're engaging with their kids to help them to be good at their planning, good legacy inheritors, good with using their financial resources. Well, the topics that we're talking to their kids about are far different than the topics we're talking to mom and dad about. So don't make the assumption there isn't good, trusted advice and services out there for you. Anyway, that's just a bit of an introduction to the study. We've had other videos that I'll link to this video that talks about the value of financial coaching. And again, if you want to get more information, we've got links with this video. If you want to reach out to us to start a conversation, there's a link in the notes as well to start that conversation. And as well, we have a retirement coaching page. So if you're in a situation where you're beginning to think about retirement coaching and you want some advice on that, go to that link. It'll take you to the coaching page. There's some free resources you can download. And again, if you want to start a conversation, just reach out to us and we'd be delighted to set that up for you. Anyway, you take care. All the best. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the alert bell if you want to be notified on future content.